Okay, this video might be short. I always say that, but then it ends up being like 30 minutes. I'm gonna talk about New Earth and Dolores Cannon. So, I found out years ago about Dolores Cannon. My soul was always drawn to that. I watched this beautiful series, and I'm gonna shout her out right now. Her name is JK Ultra, and she has a beautiful series on the Nostradamus predictions from Dolores Cannon, and then she also has a beautiful series here on YouTube of the New Earth shift. She did a whole series about it, and she is fabulous. She just explains things so well. So I would go over to her page and check out the Earth Shift series if you don't know anything about Dolores Cannon. She explains it really well. And so I've been watching her videos for years, probably like 3 years now. So I guess the pandemic, when I got on TikTok, is how I found her. And of course I just found her. And of course, nothing's an accident, nothing is a coincidence. Everything in your life is for a reason. Everything, every ounce, every second, every moment is for a reason. It's for this ascension process, especially if you are ascending right now, and even if you're not, like, your soul contract is your soul contract. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about. So I loved this theory. I really loved this theory. I would really get into it, and then I'd kind of like walk away from it, and then I'd come back to it a few months later, and it always just kept coming up and kept coming up and kept coming up. And now I understand why, because it's actually going to happen. So that's the coolest thing ever. I'm so excited. And so Dolores Cannon was a hypnotherapist, I think in the 70s. I'm not really good with timelines and stuff like that. And she originally was just going to help people like stop quitting smoking and like not be afraid of dogs and face your fears and stuff like that, because that was becoming a huge thing in the 70s. It was hypnotherapy, is going to like a hypnotherapist and cessation of smoking and all that stuff. And while she was doing this, she created her own method which is called QHHT. And I'm not 100% sure what it stands for. I think it's Quantum Healing Hypnosis Therapy. I think that's what it stands for, but don't quote me on that. JK Ultra knows what it is, the words of it, more than I do. So again, go check her out. I'll also link that video. I hope I can. I'm not sure how to do. I'm not good with technology. We'll figure it out together, guys. So I was always drawn to this, but there was one thing that would just stop me every single time, is that Dolores stopped at, some people are going to make it to New Earth and some people aren't. And that never sat right in my soul, because I was like, that doesn't really feel right to me. That's not fair that only some of us are going to be able to make it to New Earth and others aren't going to be able to make it to New Earth. Because I knew even then, when I was watching this content, that most of us were deeply manipulated by at least the systems of oppression. I knew that at the time. I didn't realize that it was actually calculated, and everything has, to a T, has been we've been completely manipulated with people having this knowledge of ascension. Like, I just thought people were doing this just because they were like naughty, negative people, but it's like, no, actually they intentionally have put us in the matrix to stop us from ascension. And so now that I have my psychic abilities, I've gotten answers past Dolores Cannon, and so that's what I want to talk about. So what I've been told is that 40% of us have contracted to go automatically to New Earth. And that is the neurodivergent adults right now, and that is all children are going to go to New Earth. Even if they have negative parents, even if whatever. All the children they have the programming within them that I've been told once the aliens come, this DNA will be activated, and they will remember kind of like their soul mission and their soul purpose here. And so we'll have a lot of children helping parents ascend, essentially, is what I've been told. And so, I think that's cool. I'm like, oh, thank God. Oh, I can like breathe. Because, you always think about the kids. They're innocent. They don't have, and they're fucking manipulated, and their parents are responsible for them. So how the hell? But they're saying that, yeah, the kids now, they have the DNA ready for them. And I feel like I can kind of attest to that, because my friend has kids, and her daughter has just become so empathetic over time. Like, she's only 11 years old, and she has like the heart of a saint. And it does seem like kids aren't as mean. Like, I was talking to her about how I used to get like super bullied and all this crazy stuff, and she's like, that still happens, but like not as much. And it's not like as negative as it used to be. So like already you can see like the kids, like, yes, there's bullying, yes, there's all of that stuff, because we're all deep in a dense matrix, but even like now I'm like 29, and so she's like 11, and so even in that time, like, it's gotten like way less like horrible. So I'm just super excited about that. I'm so excited to hear that, because then it just like also proves that this is true. So 40% of people have contracted to go to New Earth. Sorry, I want to let that plane pass. 60% of people, it's going to be a free will choice. Now, they have told me, though, that about 10% of people have contracted to go on the old Earth timeline. That there will be about 10% of people who contracted to actually live out the old Earth timeline. That's what their soul wanted. It's kind of like, because when we go to New Earth, there's going to be no karma anymore. This is like their last little bit of karma that their soul wanted to live out, because it accelerates your soul growth. And so even people who don't make it to New Earth in this like lifetime right now, they will be on New Earth. So every single person here on Earth will make it to New Earth. And that's where Dolores Cannon theory stops. It's just like, some will make it, some won't. Period. End of story. Bye-bye. And I'm like, oh no. And now I've been told that this is really what it is. And so, and I didn't know anything about soul contracts or anything like that before I got my psychic abilities. Actually, I didn't know about any of this shit. And also, I didn't fully believe in New Earth. That's why it would always stop me, because I was like, that doesn't seem fair. So a lot of this stuff, like, I didn't fully believe, or, you know, whatever, until I got my psychic abilities, because then all these questions were answered for me. And so that's the other cool part about it. I never shared with people in my daily life that I was into New Earth, except for like my most previous partner. And like, then my sister was talking about a QHHT therapist like a few months ago, and I was finally able to tell her about New Earth and that I believed in it. And then I got my psychic abilities, and then I'm like, oh my god, it's actually true. So that's been super cool to realize that Dolores Cannon was 100% correct, and she's 100% true. And she just didn't get the full channels at that time, because people weren't going to understand it, is what they're telling me. And so now us psychic people will be able to kind of like piece together some unanswered questions. So yes, we are ascending to New Earth. The aliens will be coming this year, 2025, to help us. I've already talked about it on my TikTok, but I'm going to get into that in my next video. I'm going to talk about the orbs, the drones, and the aliens. So, yeah. Thank you guys again for watching. This one was a lot shorter, because I've already talked a lot about New Earth in my other videos. So, again, go watch my other videos if this one didn't make sense to you. And again, thank you for watching.